Hello， 大家好，欢迎收看这一集的节目。那相信看到标题的各位都知道，今天要访问的是 Megadeth 的主唱兼吉他手 Dave Mustaine。那 Megadeth 其实也在不久前宣布了说他们即将退休的事情。我们今天就会问到 Dave 为什么要退休，以及他有没有可能会复出呢？那相信很多朋友都知道我是个金属头，对 Big Four 之中的 Megadeth 地位绝对不可撼动。其实我也觉得要访问他，好像比我访问 Steve 还要更紧张。好，那我们接着在台湾的时间凌晨2点。好，我们即将访问 Dave Mustaine， 就让我们直接进访问影片。
Hello to all you YSO viewers. I'm Dave Mustaine from Megadeth.
I'm actually quite nervous.
Why?
Because you're a metal icon and I'm a metalhead.
That's a good reason.
I'd like to start with your album. You know, the self-titled Megadeth, which is kind of your farewell work. In the track The Last Note, which is quite literal, you subverted Caesar's famous quote, I see, I come, I conquer, into I came, I ruled, and now I disappear. And we're interested to know, because you said you want to sing until you can't physically anymore, why choose to release a final album now, aside from, the Putrin's contracture that's setting you back from playing the guitar? So is that the main reason why you're retiring?
Yeah. It's just physical stuff. When I got cancer, that was one thing. Having my neck fused together is another thing. Having my arm injury in 2001 was another thing. And this now with my hand is another thing. I'm close to 70 anyway. I don't know how many people want to see Dave Mustaine in 70. I think if they want to see me play guitar, it doesn't matter how old I am. But, 3 years from now, we may not even be listening to music. We may be living in the fucking Stone Age. Looking at what's going on in the news nowadays, man, who knows?
True, that is very true. Speaking of your battle with your throat cancer, your all the injuries and hearing loss, you've mentioned that some of the songs are now impossible to play, impossible to sing in their original key, right? So how does the vocal kind of differ in your new album as compared to your older songs?
It's not that they're impossible to sing. It's just that they wouldn't sound as strong as I'd like them to sound. When I had the metal plate put in my neck to fuse my vertebra together, it went into an area where my voice box is, and you get the resonant sound there. So that affected the sound, and moving it down a step was good for a lot of songs. But the stuff that we did when I was in my 20s, it's like, it's a lot different, because your voice box is just like any other part of your body. It's going to age along with you. It doesn't just stay 20 years old the whole time.
Exactly. Phone call?
Hello. That's my name.
I emailed you over the link.
I'm on right now. You're cutting in.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so as the band's final statement, the farewell album, how does the concept of the album Megadeth summarize the significance of the band's entire career?
I don't know that's possible, unless you did a greatest hits record and you took a little sampling of each record. But I think the songs right now really represent the band really well, not only for who we are, but the legacy of the band. I asked the other band members to join me in listening to the entire catalog before we went into the studio, and the four of us listened to all 200 plus songs.
Wow!
And now we studied the songs really well, and we wrote down what we liked about the songs and what we didn't like. And I explained to the guys, what made a chorus, what made a verse, what made a bridge, what made a solo section, and so on. And really had an extensive, seminar, for lack of a better word, but it was a really long period of going over those songs. And we discussed every single song, how they were made. And I think that's what really helped when we came into the studio to do these tracks. Everybody really knew what the legacy of the band was, and knew where to go when they were writing their parts.
Well, that would definitely take some time with such a catalog.
Yeah.
And your songs often have a very strong sense of narrative. Like the new record features like many parting themes, For instance, Tipping Point contains a blunt curse, crossing my heart, how I hope you will die. And, are you willing to share the story behind it?
It's not really about any one person. Of course, there are several people that are in my muse spots, people that I don't like, or people that are bad people, and I want to get inspired from some of the stuff they've done over history, or stuff that I wanted to do to certain people because I don't like them. And I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I know that the guys, when they approach songwriting, this really helped them to go over all those songs.
And obviously an Easter egg on the new album is, Ride the Lightning, which is a classic that you co-wrote. You also did like a rendition of the Four Horsemen, which is the Mechanics. So what was kind of your process of, because you said you want to speed the song up a little bit and then make it heavier and this and there, right? So what was it like to kind of rewrite or reinterpret Ride the Lightning?
I didn't reinterpret it. It was just doing what I felt what the song was. You got to remember that when I played it with those guys, it was different. Just like the other songs that we played, once they went into the studio, they changed it. For me, choosing to do Ride the Lightning was a way of me showing respect and closing the circle, and paying tribute to all the fans, Megadeth and Metallica fans, and just felt like the right thing to do. It was fun. I've always respected James as a guitar player, and Ride the Lightning was a song that I don't think anybody expected. So we were going to do another song on the album like we always do, a version of a song done by somebody that we really respect, And when this was suggested, we kind of thought, well, how are we going to make this different? Because, I've always said if you're going to do a interpretation of an existing piece of art, it has to be as good as the original or better. And that was a tall order. So we did what I felt the song would have been like had I still been in the band. It would have been a little faster, probably would have had a little different solo in it. I'm sure of that. It may or may not have had a different drum piece at the end, but it might have. And I think the two versions are both great.
Yeah. That is for sure. And you're regarded as one of the best metal players in the scene. Not only are you really good at the intricate rhythm playing, you're also known for a lot of lead stuff. Because I'm a rhythm player myself, so I really look up to you. I remember reading, I think it was the Guitar World magazine, way back in the days, you were explaining about the spider chords or something like that.
Oh, shit. Yeah. That's part of the reason why we did Ride the Lightning, because that chord is in there.
Kind of going back to the tipping point where you said it was kind of misunderstood or that it wasn't about anybody. So a lot of your songs were actually misunderstood or misinterpreted. Like, the sick, the dying, and the dead, people thought it was about COVID. How do you deal with, a lot of your messages or songs being misinterpreted or misunderstood?
I mean, it's pretty clear if you read the lyrics on The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead that it was about the plague. And how do I deal with people misinterpreting songs? That's okay. People have the right to have their own interpretation of everything. I think when we put out songs, some people are going to say, oh, that's for sure about James or Lars or David Ellefson. It's, there's a lot of people that I come across in the course of my life that I have positive or negative experiences about, that I sing about either in a positive or a negative experience. But, I don't have any one person that I focus on all the time, because that would be really shallow.
And speaking of person, and backtrack a little bit about guitar playing, I'd like to know who is your favorite guitar player of all time?
European guitar players, there's so many really fast picking guys, but ever since Yngwie came out, everybody else is just a really fast picking guy.
Right.
Before Yngwie, when a really great guitar player came on the scene, you had Schenker, or you had Angus, or you had James or myself. And we were really distinguished guitar players.
Right.
You had the guys from Maiden. But then there was this explosion. And there are so many guitar players now that are really good, especially because of the software that they can learn how to play with. When we started off, we didn't have all these apps. We had to learn by lifting up the stylus on the record and scooting it back a couple grooves and dropping it and hoping it went in the same fucking spot so we could pick up our guitar and our pick at the right time and play along with the song again, until they started developing cassette decks where you could slow stuff down or back it up real easy. That was the way we learned stuff. So I would have to say probably one of my favorite guitar players has a lot to do with the era that they came in. And I would say for guitar layering and sounds, it would be Jimmy Page. For excellent note selection, it would be David Gilmour. For being metal as fuck back when there were no metal guitar players, Richie Blackmore. I am not a fan of the keyboard, so I could have had them be a little bit lighter shade of purple and gotten rid of the keyboard player. But yeah, he was great. And then, of course, like I said, AC/DC and Angus and UFO with Michael Schenker. That's my Last Supper kind of thing. I'd want to have those guys with me.
I'm interested to know, since you've been in the scene for so long, right? I'm really interested. Right. I'm really interested to hear what's your view on heavy metal getting heavier through tuning lower. Do you think that's where the heaviness comes in? Comes from, or
no?
No. Okay.
No. When you detune an instrument, it becomes percussive. It goes to a point where it is no longer tonal. It becomes atonal. And if the instrument's just going, no matter where you have your fingers on the first three frets, that you're no longer playing a guitar. You got a stick in your hands. So I like having a variety of notes that you can play. And I believe that bands that tune really low, if you heard their songs and they were tuned up, you would probably be really pleasantly surprised by how good the songs could be if you could tell what the note selection is. But then it goes back to what I said about perfect note selection. That's somebody like a David Gilmour, somebody who has that golden ear.
Again, speaking of songwriting, Let There Be Shred is a top-tier thrash piece. And your work is often described as, high speed yet highly structured. Again, spider chords and everything. So when you were writing riffs, again, I'm mainly a guitar player. So I'm interested to hear, how do you balance raw emotional outbursts with, structural precision? In your opinion, what defines, good shredding?
I think first off, a song has to have a good beat and a good melody. And it has to have some easy words for you to remember. And at that point, you've got a song. And then you could structure that song if it's going to be a little longer, a little shorter, if you want to have a guitar solo in it or not. But it's really critical that you have that beat, melody, and the simple words that people can sing along to. You can, of course, be a very bizarre, artsy kind of band. And that's great. That's great for some bands, but they will never hit that number one spot, And it's difficult to hit that number one spot. It's taken me years to do it, but I did it. And there's a difference between how Megadeth is compared to some of the other metal bands that are out there. Not all of them, we have a lot of similarities with a lot of our peers and our contemporaries, but there is something that sets us apart. And I think that has a lot to do with music I listened to growing up. I was a big Beatles fan, and I liked a lot of music that was from the 60s, because that's when I was born. I was born in the 60s, and listening to all that kind of rock and roll stuff really gave me a understanding of song structures. Because back then, remember too, Johnny, those songs were only 2-3 minutes long. Yeah.
And again, you've been in the scene for so long, and then people always say, oh, metal is dead. And then all of a sudden, someone just kind of revives the genre, or so they say. How would you view the genre's development today? And are there any newcomers that have caught your attention?
Well, it was really great to see the guys in Anthrax, and to be able to see the guys in Exodus and know that they both have new albums coming out. That was exciting, because I've always said, out of the Big Four, I always thought it should be the Big Five. I thought that Exodus should have been in there. That was really great to see. So I think that the old guard is still capable of doing what we need to do. We're still capable. I wish the very best for Exodus and Anthrax on their release. I don't know if the albums came out yet or not, but I sure hope that they get a really high charting album. They were great to tour with again. And so other bands that are out there, metal bands, I know we're going to be doing some stuff with a couple more American bands soon. We're going to be announcing that. Did we go to Taiwan?
Yeah, you went
to Taiwan when the monsoon hit right after we left.
Right. Yeah, you've been, from what I remember, you've been to Taiwan twice before.
Yeah. There was, yes, I remember now.
Yeah, and I think the
first one we played at like 4 a.m, if I remember right.
Wow. Actually, I was probably still in Canada back then, so I definitely missed that.
Yeah, there was a street festival that they had there, and what had happened was we were supposed to play there, and the border and customs, the border patrol did not let our gear through. And so they said they would let it through at such and such a time. And I said, okay, we'll just play a little later. And then we got a phone call. Well, they're late. It's going to be a little bit later. And I said, well, are there people still there? Yeah, there's still people there. Okay, well, tell them we'll still play. So this kept happening until about 2 a.m. when they finally got the gear to the venue. They set everything up, and we played right after that. As soon as we were done playing, we went to the hotel, got our suitcases, and went right to the airport, because we didn't have any time to go to sleep. And fortunately for us, that monsoon hit right after we took off. Yeah, it's a bad one too. But we played, and I said we were going to play, and we did.
I bet the fans were fun. The wait is definitely worth it.
Our crew was not happy about it, but you know what? I'm a fan of Megadeth too, man. I want to hear the music just as much as the next guy.
Of course. So will there be a chance for you to come to Taiwan for the final tour?
I hope so.
Nice. I'm sure our readers and our viewers will be excited to hear that. And actually, for our YouTube channel, a lot of our viewers are gear nerds, including myself.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I definitely want to ask you a few questions on gear.
Sure.
So obviously you're now working with Gibson, and you've released Gibson Custom, Gibson USA, and even Kramer, Epiphone and Kramer signature guitars. And from what I understand is pretty much all the specs are the same. Whereas, for a lot of other signature guitars from other artists at different price points, they might use different specs. So was that your intention to say that, I want everything to be exactly the same, which is what I use? Because even down to the pickups, they're all Seymour Duncan, thrash factors.
That's really, really, really close. My relationship with Gibson is as follows. I am their ambassador, and I endorse the Gibson guitars, and I am ambassador for Kramer and for Epiphone. The Kramer and the Epiphone have the two body shapes that they had when I went to the company. Same thing, but we modified them a little bit. And the Gibson V is in the original shape because, Gibson had its legacy with that guitar shape. Now, we do have a lot of really great news coming up with Gibson and with me. The Flying V is a 24-fret Flying V, as you know now. And Gibson has made me a beautiful, beautiful guitar that they gave to me. I can't say what it is, but it's a beautiful guitar. And, we're going to make some modifications, I think, to some of the other guitars that they're interested in me endorsing. I think it's great. The Epiphone is kind of set more up for guitar players that play in those lower chords like you were talking about, because we initially had Fishman pickups that came on those before I endorsed the guitar. And we swapped the pickups out within due time. I didn't want to just take them out because, the Fishman pickups were in there for a reason, and I wanted to respect the legacy of that guitar with Epiphone. But, everything, like you said, the specs are as far as where your hand goes on the right side and where your hand goes on the left side, that's all identical.
Yeah, they're all mahogany, neck, mahogany body, ebony fingerboard, Thrax Factor pickups.
Yeah, so, and they play like motherfuckers too.
Nice. So I think the only thing different is, again, Kramer being a Vanguard shape instead of the Gibson / Epiphone Flying V.
The Kramer's the pointy one. The Gibson and the Epiphone ones are not pointy.
Yep. And the other thing that you surprised a lot of people were amps or lack of amps nowadays when you switched over to Cortex.
But that's not what I do in the studio.
Oh, interesting. That is exactly what we would like to hear. I like to ask you, I remember it was kind of Kiko experimented with Quad Cortex and then you switched over to Quad Cortex as well. So how was the process of switching over from, tube amps into the Quad Cortex? How has it been working for you for live situation?
Well, it works great for live situations, and it really works great in studio situations too. My situation that I prefer is to have a combination of the two, so that we can blend anything at any time. The most important track that we have is the DI track. No matter what we amp or reamp, the most important track that we record is the DI, because that's our baby. That's the real meat and potatoes of the album. So I used all Marshall amplifiers, and that was for my rhythm sound 800s. I had my White Randy Rhoads amp with a lot of outdoor gear that we use, pedals and whatnot, that Chris Rakestraw uses with his production style, and you can see any of that in some of the photos from the studio that we have, or he may have it documented somewhere in an interview that he's done. But Beatle, on the other hand, he used Lens, he used Synergy, I think it was. I think we had a Soldano there. I think we had a Mesa thing there. He had a Meshuggah there. I mean, every day I would come in, he had a new amp there, and I thought, man, I'm sure glad I don't have to go through that much stuff. I would go nutty. But, you know, some people are gearheads like you are. I'm just not.
Yeah. Speaking of Synergy, and, you know, you mentioned JCM 800. Are you aware that Synergy just came out with the official, you know, Marshall JCM 800 module?
No.
They just came out with that.
For me right now, I'm not going to use anything in the studio besides my amps. Those are my babies. They've been ground in. They've got my DNA in those amps for a very, very, very long time. And I'm not going to part ways with those. Maybe when I completely full on retire and I won't ever play again, I might think of parting ways with it, but there's just no reason to right now. And I in the studio, I haven't found anything that quite sounds as good as those amps.
Life-wise, are you using your Quad Cortex to capture your real amps, or are you using the built-in models?
No, that's something that everybody worked on, was matching our sounds. And I don't know how far along they are in the process right now. I know they've been working on that for a while, so they're probably done. They probably finished it a long time ago.
Right.
I know at this point right now, basically I go to the show and I go to the stage, we'll do our sound check, and then that's it. I go back to the dressing room until showtime. I don't sit out there and noodle on my guitars, because we've got engineers and techs that do all that stuff. Their job is to make the guitar parts sound like the albums. So instead of me standing up on stage and saying, oh, I like the way this sounds, I say, get the sound that we've already approved and perfected and that's on the album that people are expecting to hear live no matter what. Because if you are going to EQ an album to sound a certain way and you get live and you think you're going to EQ a sound to be the way that that album is, but you don't take into effect that your environment is going to need to be adjusted for. Doesn't matter how your setup is. Now, for me, I'm not going to sit there while we adjust to the environment. I'll go there, I'll play the songs, I'll make sure my in-ears are right, I'll make sure the stage volume's right for all of us, and then the rest of the day, the rest of the afternoon, it's the crew guys can do whatever they need to do. Our crew is really excellent, and they don't need a lot of time up there, though. Usually it takes us 20 minutes to do our entire sound check.
That is fast.
That's fast.
I'd like to ask about gear endorsements. You know, we were talking about Gibson, and then obviously you have your Marshall cabs. And we heard the story about you turning down a 40,000 speaker endorsement because you're saying that it's not something your fans are going to buy and it's not something people are going to hear your music through.
I thought it was really neat that I would be approached for something like that, because it shows the respect that we have in the community, in the music business, and I'm really glad that for our genre that we have someone like me to go out and stand up for us that's got a good reputation.
Right.
But $40,000 speakers, you know what? I wouldn't buy $40,000 speakers because I just don't have that kind of money to spend on $40,000 speakers. I would rather go and donate that to the ASPCA for, you know,
right,
rescue dogs.
Do you think that artists kind of go around endorsing things that they don't believe in?
Oh yeah, sure. Anything for money.
Anything for money.
That's why I don't have a lot of endorsements.
Just guitars and cab, if I remember correctly.
No, I have a few other endorsements. I have a Gibson makes my strings and my guitar straps. Jim Dunlap makes my guitar picks and my strap locks. And I have my relationship with Neural, as you know, but that's all the guitar stuff. Now, Shure Microphones is the cream of the crop for a singer, and you know, any live band, we have so many Shure microphones up on stage. That was a huge endorsement for the band to get, but that's for the band. It's not just me. I'm proud to be endorsed by Shure. but they believe in the whole band. It's not just me. They also provide us with our wireless packs, which are amazing. There's another company that we did something with for our side stage experience. We have this thing where the fans can sign up for an experience where they can stand up on stage with us and wear the headphones that have the exact mix that we on stage listen to. It sounds to them like how we hear it.
Right.
And they're up on stage. They get to feel the vibration of the stage. As soon as the kick drum hits and it triggers in their ear, they feel it with their feet and their chest. So it's a super fucking awesome experience for them to have. And that was with a headphone company named Valco that Timu had a friendship with. But that was kind of open-ended. We didn't really have an endorsement with them. They just believed in us and we believed in their product. Yeah, we don't take shit just because it's free. It's got to be something that we would use. My first guitar that I got from Jackson, I paid for. My first guitar I got from BC Rich, I paid for. That was me sticking up for myself and showing that I'm a man of integrity. When my arm got hurt, we sold off all of our equipment so that I could pay all of our bills. And, the other guys, I talked to them and they didn't really want to be involved with anything anymore because, my arm got hurt. So I said, okay, I have to sell off all of our equipment to pay these vendors. I didn't want those other companies to be screwed because I got injured. So I sold off all that stuff and paid them off. And we didn't have a lot of stuff left over when we paid everybody back. So we had to kind of start from scratch again, which, we lost a lot of real valuable stuff. I didn't think I would play again. My arm was gone. So that was back in 2001.
Even though you're going into retirement with your, with your hand condition right now, but do you think that there's a chance for you to do a show here and there, or maybe just sing, or is guitar playing something that you must do alongside?
I think about that all the time, John. I think about if they'll have a procedure or a medicine where they can fix my hand, what would I do? And not that I'm afraid of it working, I'm afraid of it not working. And I want to make sure that I do everything that I want to do before I take a risk of doing a surgery with something as delicate as my hand. Because if my hand doesn't heal, then my playing will be altered. Even 1%, it'll change my playing forever. And I can't afford that. So I don't know. They may come up with something, and I may have a press statement to make at some point. Guess what? Great news. For now, the great news is that I still play like a motherfucker and I ain't going anywhere until I have to.
That's great to hear. And we're getting close to the end of the interview. So, for any younger fans that hearing Megadeth for the first time, how would you use a phrase or a word to describe it?
Raw.
And can you share any upcoming plans for your farewell tour or something that we can expect?
Megadeth.com/tour.
We'll be heading to sleep because it's getting close to 3 a.m. for us.
Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. Hey, John, listen, real quick. If we do play Taiwan, and if not, if we're playing anywhere near you, please come and let us know. You have this on record. We'll bring you backstage. You and I can have a cup of coffee or tea or a beer and finish our conversation. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic.
All right, bro. We'll do a little bit of some rhythm woodshedding, too. I'll talk to you later, guys. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
You. All right, have a good day.
Okay, you too, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
就相信很多朋友也看到我访问的过程中非常的紧张， 就我很怕讲错话。那相信刚刚的访谈可以看出 Dave Mustaine 要退休的主要原因是他手部的问题。那如果之后有办法根治的话，是不是表示 Megadeth 还有复出的机会呢？那就让我们敬请期待下去吧。感谢大家，我们今天节目到这边结束，拜拜。